mentioned Muslims are celebrating that they had something to do with the loss of Harris. What does this matter in the light of the grand scheme of things? I'm not saying
Don't worry, folks. I'm just
but it seems we get really charged up about politics.
sending out the link here really quick for the good folks of the internets here. There we go. And we'll get moving here. So as you can hear in the background, maybe you can hear on the microphone here, is a little short that I had made. It was a little outtake from the khutbah that I gave the other day. And I just wanted to comment on something that was very interesting. So, Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. So, the other day I got a text from some friends of mine, and they had informed me about the upcoming schedule for the Mass LA convention. And so I was curious to see what, the lineup would look like. And it looks like I was interested to see that amongst the people headlining the feature, it included some people that have been very prominent and involved in giving political commentary, or what passes for political commentary. And I'm not saying these things to be a hater. I'm just giving my own kind of personal feedback. And so, one, it's interesting that in a time where so many Muslims are claiming that they feel that they are under fire and that they are under threat, that it seems that the people that they are invoking to comfort them in this time of difficulty are political commentators. So I kind of, that's a curiosity. And I'm not saying that the other people on the ticket are all political commentators, but I can't help for a few of those to stand out. And that also, it seems that now at many of our conventions and many of our conventions or places where people are giving lecturing or our gatherings, that increasingly we're seeing political commentators taking the place of a traditional religious-minded person. Now, I'm not saying that they aren't attempting to give us some political commentary from the perspective of a Muslim or from the perspective of Islam that, obviously is not blameworthy. But what I question is that actually what is happening? And so a lot of the political commentary I've seen seems to amount to little more than actually a kind of safety blanket and cathartic moment. And I don't really see where there's a lot of strategizing necessarily going on, or political commentary, kind of to what end, right? And so I am a little concerned about this shift, in that it seems that, and I won't mention any names, but I have several friends of mine that work as imams or scholars, or, they are, seriously committed students of knowledge. And they all kind of, when we talk privately, they all kind of bemoan the state of affairs of the Muslim community, that nobody seems to truly want to study Islam anymore. Nobody seems to be seriously committed to, reflecting upon the Book of Allah. Nobody seems to be seriously interested in studying the Sunnah and the life of the Prophet ﷺ, and that what we're left with is either political commentary masquerading as fiqh, or something else, or just controversy. I had a person that texted me yesterday, some videos making the rounds of a disgruntled individual who now, I guess, is riding on the Wissam Sharif, incident and tragedy, now taking that opportunity to lash out at people that he already had a previous grievance with. And what's really disappointing is that these kinds of videos seem to get a lot of traction. I mean, just looking at the metrics of the likes and the views and whatnot, it's disturbing that this is something that even gets traction in our community. And so a lot of my friends that are in that line of work kind of bemoan the current state of affairs. So as my friend Jordan says, he said it also might be the case that people just don't want to learn from them, and he's laughing. Uh, I mean, all jokes aside, that could be a possibility. But what we're seeing is not like, oh, okay, you know, sheikh or ustad or sheikha or ustada fulan or fulana is teaching A, B, and C or X, Y, and Z, and people are not really interested in that particular flavor or presentation of that, but they are interested in studying that, and they're doing it with other people. I don't see that genuinely, happening. And again, I feel like our community is being coaxed and socialized and led into, well, really almost certain kind of cul-de-sacs, right? They're being led into these blind alleys of which people think something genuine is happening, but in reality, not very much is happening at all. And so when I saw this, I'm like, hey, as I wrote on my Substack the other day, I saw a number of videos that seemed to be very, very, popular and prominent, in which there was this kind of like patting, let's all pat ourselves on the back. Kamala Harris lost, and we are responsible for that. We, as the American Muslims, are responsible or a major contributor to that. She lost because of Gaza and our efforts for that. And as I wrote in my piece, it's not that I think that it didn't have any impact, but I do believe that the impact that Muslims would like to ascribe to themselves is significantly overinflated. And that my grievance with that isn't just, well, I just want to keep a more accurate score, but rather, if we lead the rank and file Muslim community to feel that, okay, guys, job well done, then we can basically, pack up and go home. And in fact, now would be the time to really galvanize and, move to go forward, because, as I said, that same spirit of, yay, we made, Kamala lose, is also, I feel, there's a very similar kind of spirit exuding from those that met with Trump days before the election. Sorry, Alexa. Those same individuals that met with Trump days before the election, and then tried to pass off their meeting with him as some major political move in which we made our demands to him and such. And then, of course, we've seen some absolutely, in my opinion, ludicrous and irresponsible political commentary coming from the religious-minded, or people that are supposed to be, imams or mutafaqihun or whatever, saying that people like Matt Getz or some of these other Zionist psychopaths are, good people. That they took that moment to also kind of clap themselves on the back. And it's very apparent that as soon as Trump won, he made moves not only to not acknowledge any of the very, very ambiguous promises or even acknowledgments that he made to those Muslims, but has done a complete 180 and has brought in everybody that will absolutely bring about not only a continuation of what has happened in the last 4 years, but very, very likely a ramping up of it. And inshallah, nothing would make me happier than to be wrong of all about that. But again, I think that's what comes from the kind of magical thinking and this moment of that I kind of, you know, I equate it to like the NFL today, right? Like when I was a kid, people didn't celebrate unless you won the game, or at least if you actually scored a touchdown, right? If you scored a touchdown, then okay, maybe you could spike the ball and you could have a little celebration. But now, somebody, runs on second down and gets 4 yards and it's still, third and six, and they're celebrating like something, tremendous happened. And so I feel like we're kind of putting the cart before the horse. Um, I also feel like, because some people say, well, okay, fine, you have your own little comments, but, where's your grand strategy? Um, I don't think there can be a grand strategy yet because I feel like our efforts are so disparate throughout, the four corners of our community that I don't feel like we've really coalesced, and we still don't know what we want from each other. We don't know how to negotiate with each other, and we still haven't determined what we really want from this country. And I think those are some of the big questions, to ask ourselves, before going forward. Um, how can our political maneuvering be governed by legitimate religious sensibilities of people that is their job, uh, that get paid to understand Islam, and it's that their life's profession, not merely just a passion, but it's a profession of what they do, um, so that we don't have the current situation now where you have some of these, alphabet groups in our community that they have, staff members or founders that go around and give khutab from the mimbar, that give, Friday sermons from the mimbar that are directly influenced by, what the mission statement of their organization is about, and dovetailing with a lot of this, political stuff. And that's a major concern that slowly, um, imams and traditional scholars are being benched in favor of just this kind of, flavor of the month political, posturing. And I'm very, very concerned about what that could, mean for the future. So that's why I did mention it in the khutbah. I wrote, a small piece upon that. And of course, the title of this, I was like, why is it that we have so much political energy, but we seem to have such diffuse and uh, feeble actual religious and spiritual fervor that we can hold each other's feet to the fire on whether we're going to or not going to vote for the Green Party because of the optics of it. But there's no conversation about why are all the masajid empty. And just as, each and every one of us will be told by people, well, we have an individual right and obligation to vote. Well, then why do we also not feel an individual obligation to go and attend the masajid, despite whatever personal experiences that we've had there? So that's another one that needs to be teased out. We seem to have an almost unlimited amount of forgiveness when it comes to secular political things. And we can always somehow round the square when it comes to that. But we have almost unattainable demands, or unattainable demands when it comes to what we demand our religious experiences be like in the community. And if they're not all met and then some, then we just simply walk away. And so that's why I was like, political energy versus spiritual and religious commitment. I think that's another thing that needs to be talked about. So I don't know. Haven't decided if I'm going to go to this thing or not. Maybe inshallah I'll see some of you there. If not, maybe I'll have a chance to see some of you at the center over the break, inshallah. But I hope we use this opportunity to think about what we're doing, um, and to use this time now not to think like, well, the election's over and that we can somehow ride the celebration or ride the fact of Harris losing. I mean, Israel seems to show no signs of letting up whatsoever, despite whatever charges are in the International Criminal Court. As long as they have the strong arm of this country, which of this administration shows that it will by no means be any less committed than the previous, then we have our work really cut out for us. So, um, inshallah, my thoughts. We'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.